QWAM. Okay, basically. I just wanted to go over.
We're going to the area, bro.
Okay, basically the holy day is what we keep as it's our heritage. And then it's a memorial. Now, what is a memorial? It's like to remind us. Because yesterday I was given a word that we need to, like, actually when the flood comes, when the flood of enemy comes, Yahweh is going to raise up a standard. Now, how do you get a standard? You need to be consistent in Yahweh, and then will you create a standard. And from that standard, everything can come. You know, like modesty, all of those qualities and that characteristics that royal, righteous individual should possess at his disposal at any given point in time. Readily accessible, you know, all day, every day, in season, out of season. Never to be caught slipping, you know, making sure that you have the righteous garment on wherever you go. Now basically, the Feast of Trumpet and the Day of Atonement and the Feast of Tabernacles, that's the three major feasts that we're having this month. So that was Sirach 24-23. I just have a side note here. It says go back to the fundamentals. So our fundamentals is always based upon the foundation, which is the rock, which is our Shai. He's the example. So the Bible is our measuring stick, and we use that to navigate life. You know, we build upon a solid foundation, not on sand. And then it's James 1:22. There's Romans 2:13. Okay, we shouldn't be inwardly Israelite, meaning that you've got the beard, you've got.
Don't you have those scrubs that you were referencing now?
I got them, yeah. Salakia. Okay, I don't have Sirach, but okay, James I got.
Bro, you must edify, bro. Don't present it like it's a PowerPoint, bro. Edify, go into the scriptures, break it down, bro. Now you're presenting a PowerPoint to me and expecting me to understand just because you said James or whatever. Sirach. You must read the scriptures and break it down, bro. It's not a PowerPoint presentation.
So we're in the book of St. James, chapter 1, verse 22. Okay, Ben might have got an NIV, so it's a bit watered down. Do not merely listen to the word and deceive yourselves. Do what it says. So that is a confirmation that the law, you know, is forever. The book of the Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 15 says righteousness is immortal. So we must know what righteousness is. Righteousness, you build righteousness in the law, in the truth. So yeah, that is going hand in hand with Romans 2:13, which says, be ye not hearers of the word, but also doers of the word. So this all ties in to our heritage, which is the word that Yahweh has given us. You know, we are set apart, we are above all nations. I think Deuteronomy 4:2 says that, no, 4:6 says that people will see our level of wisdom and our level of understanding if we keep this laws in this word that Yahweh has given us. So everything ties in to the blueprint. There's certain days and certain feasts and certain, like the laws and the commandments and the statutes, that's the rules of life. Plain down and
for us, the Israelites.
It's the rules of life.
For the Israelites.
Can't. But now any other nation can partake in our customs and they'll succeed. But there's a promise. They can't partake in our promise. And that's just it.
And the glory. And the covenant.
Can't. So
and the giving of the law.
We are commanded to keep the high holy days. These days are set apart
God.
for a peculiar reason, for a peculiar people,
God.
for the nation of Israel. Your so-called colored, your so-called black, Negro, American, Latino, Seminole Indians, I think subject to verification, your Sothos, your Tswanas, and so forth and so forth. But it's basically a crop of people that have lost their identity.
God.
And we are oppressed, we are an oppressed people, and we are captivated mentally with a ball and a chain and a yoke of iron,
God.
which we seem to not be diligent enough to pick it up, because this is a generational curse. So brick by brick,
The Most High is must sending out prophets now.
God is raising up a standard,
God.
in us. So we need to be at the forefront of this, because you only get weak leaders. Weak leaders, they ultimately create weak followers. So we need to be that example, that prime example, and that is to walk in the footsteps of YASHARAHLA. The world ignorantly calls him Jesus Christ. So many people are entrenched in the cross, meaning they are more worried about his death, and they're not mindful of his life. Because in his life, there's Samson. Samson was a Latino brother, Hebrew of Hebrews.
God.
They say in his death, he killed more people than in his life. So Musi, there are two pillars.
God.
So yeah, I think when we seem to focus on worldly things, with the worldly perspective, then you get worldly revelations.
God.
So me I'm happy, to have been blessed to come to the knowledge of the truth. I'm blessed.
Your logic.
Basically, today is a holy day and it's set apart. It's a feast day. The feast day is not to be grieved. Today we're supposed to actually have a feast.
God.
Have your lamb, wear your favorite garment, go all out for the Most High. Because when we were in the world, we used to go all out for secular lifestyles.
God.
So it's
Dress
actually
up to go out.
God. It's actually a day that we need to celebrate, but righteously.
God.
And then we mustn't do any servile work. No manner of work shall be done except work that goes into food that must be eaten. So this is when, on the feast day you can only do food that's gonna be eaten or enjoyed for the feast day, basically. And then when you Philippians 2:2, you need to be like-minded on one accord. Congregate with like-minded brothers. Because if you have a spirit that is, I can do it by myself, then that means you're already off.
God.
You're already off. So I think Proverbs somewhere says that two is better than one, because when one falls.
God, I think Chief even went into it. A lot of you brothers think you're alone. Even Elijah thought he was alone, and the Most High told him, nah, dude, I raised up 7 other brothers like you. You might just be alone here because you want to isolate yourself, Oh my gosh, fuck. But essentially you're not alone, bruh, and whatever you're going through is putting a whole lot of other brothers through as well. So that's why y'all need to come together, so that y'all can rationalize what the Most High is doing in and through you.
In the spirit, so it's important that we congregate as a body, because Yahusha is the head.